Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV. If you have a Netflix account, you might want to check out some of the games they are offering. That's right, Netflix offers games as part of your streaming subscription plan. But these games are not streaming games, they're games that download onto your mobile device, whether it's iPhone or Android. And some of these games are surprisingly good, including some ports of very popular console titles, along with some other games that Netflix develops in-house. Let's take a closer look. Now, before we dive into today's topic, I do want to let you know that today's video has a sponsor, all of you. That includes everyone who watches this channel on a regular basis, despite the YouTube algorithm not showing you my videos, along with everybody who contributes to the channel on an ongoing basis as well. That includes contributions through our donor box page, but also the YouTube membership program, Patreon, and Floatplane. And then, of course, the super chats when we go live and the super thanks. All of it makes a big difference here and keeps the lights on around here. And I want to thank you all for your continued support and viewership. Now, what prompted me to dive into the Netflix games library this morning was this article that I saw on Kotaku talking about how Netflix is planning to add 80 new games this year on top of the 100 that they already have in there. And a lot of these go beyond just basic mobile games. They've got some ports, I think some exclusive ports like Dead Cells and a few others that I'll show you in a few minutes. Some good stuff, actually, that you don't have to pay for because you're already paying for the Netflix subscription. And last week, Netflix had their quarterly earnings call, and the co-CEO, Gregory Peters, talked about their gaming strategy. They are 3 years into this. They see games as a $150 billion market, and that excludes China and Russia. They're also not counting the ad revenue that is a growing part of game revenue. They're not putting ads on their games. They're also not doing any kind of in-app purchases to upgrade your position in the game. So a lot of those free-to-play mobile games end up costing a lot because they get people hooked on them and then start selling them fake coins or whatever. They're not doing that at the moment with the Netflix games. And in that way, they function a lot like the Apple Arcade and Google subscription plans function. So that's pretty good. They've got 100 games available so far, as was mentioned, and they're planning to invest in 80 more this year. And they also talked about the fact that they're focusing in now on developing games based on specific Netflix IP that their subscribers love. They did a Stranger Things game a couple of years ago. I think that game is still available on their platform. And now they are looking to really dive into that a bit more. And of course, these are mobile games, so they're focusing in on games that have a narrative element that are less twitchy, that can probably function better on touch displays. But that said, a lot of the games that are available for all of us to play are games that actually work quite well with game controllers. So why don't we take a look and see what Netflix has to offer. All right, so right now I'm on the home page of Netflix on both my iPhone and on an Android phone here. This is the Pixel 8a that, in full disclosure, came in free of charge from Google for our review a few weeks ago. Now, what's interesting at the moment is that the Android interface actually has a Games tab here. So if I click on Games, I'm brought right to the Games section. On the iPhone, I don't currently have that on my screen. So what I do have are some games here that I can scroll through this way. And then if I go over to My List and then go back to Browse Games, it actually brings me back to the home screen here. So the interface is not as easy to navigate right now, for me at least, on the iPhone versus Android, although I think they will probably rectify that in the near future. Now, on both platforms, if I select a game that I want to check out, let's say I want to look at Grand Theft Auto 3 here, I'll be brought to this landing page, and then if I click on Get Game, what this will do is actually pull up the Apple App Store where I can download it. So what I can do is actually browse over to the Apple App Store here, and then I can look at all the games that Netflix has available inside of the App Store. And if you have a Netflix subscription, you can download these, you can search for them just like you would any other app, and then you can play them, of course, without having to pay. You'll see that all of them have an in-app purchase next to it, and that is just offering people the opportunity to get a Netflix subscription if they don't already have one. On the Android interface here, as you can see, they've got things laid out differently because they have a whole game section, and you can scroll through here and see what games you might want to look at. And there's quite a bit here, including Sonic Mania that was just ported over recently, and this is very much the same as the console version. You're not going to see a lot of like AAA big titles on here, and this of course doesn't have any game streaming options. even though it is a streaming service. All these games get downloaded to your device, but they've sure got a lot of them. Let me show you, though, one of the games that I downloaded a little while ago and how it works between platforms. So this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and I've got it running right now on both the iPhone and on Android. I'm pretty sure that every game is available for both devices. Even cooler is that they have a cloud syncing system for the games, at least most of them. And so I started this game on this Android phone, and when I went over to my iPhone, it logged into my Netflix account, and I was able to resume the game from where I left off. It doesn't do like save states, but it does allow you to sync up the save game file between platforms. So I'm on the second level here, and I was able to start on the iPhone right after installing it on the second level because the save game came over from the Android phone where I started. So that's pretty cool. Now, one word of caution here is that these games may not stay on Netflix forever, especially the ones that are getting ported over as exclusives. And if the game goes off Netflix, according to their FAQ, the save game file will not work with the same game that you might purchase separately from the App Store. And that's a bit of a departure from Xbox Game Pass, for example, where if a game on Game Pass goes off of Game Pass, if you purchase it, your save game will work. Here, it will not. So just be careful about how much time you put into one of these games, especially if your save game goes out at the end of the contract. The game itself here feels like a nice port. It runs pretty close to how it ran on console. I do have my Backbone controller here, and I've got my, what is this thing called? This is the Game Vice on the Android device. So the games do support controllers, which for a game like this is the ideal way to play it. So they're putting some effort into these ports beyond just the games that they want to develop themselves, and I think they're looking to see what users are playing with, but it was clear from that call I referenced earlier that they are definitely zeroing in on more narrative games that follow the Netflix IP, hopefully trying to get more people to play these games and download them. But I was really impressed with the quality of this port and some of the other ports that are available. Now, they also have a games shelf that is going to start popping up on the TV interface. Right now, I'm using an Android-based player. This is the OnBox from Walmart. And apparently, this also will show up on the Fire TV and the NVIDIA Shield and other devices that are running on Android. I did not see this shelf on my Apple TV when I tested it out earlier. Unfortunately, the games that you download on mobile are not downloadable on the TV boxes. I'm sure some of you could figure out a way to shoehorn those games over to the TV platform, but at the moment, the TV-based games officially are a little different. So for example, if I go into Rocket here, what you will notice is that we're not getting tossed over to the App Store. It's actually running this inside of the Netflix app. And to start playing, what I have to do is scan this QR code with my phone, and that will prompt me to download the controller app, which I can use to control the game. Let me show you how it looks when I get everything going here. So this is what the controller app looks like, and it has paired up with my TV box. And if I hit the big A button here, I can start controlling the game once we get into things. And so this is kind of like the old game Lunar Lander in that you have to contend with gravity. So if I launch my little ship here and I move to the left and the right, I can adjust its trajectory. And that is pretty much it here. It's a pretty simple game. It's got some depth and different levels to explore and everything, but this is the kind of experience you will get on the TV side. It won't be the same as what you get on the mobile apps. Now right now I'm on my web browser and I'm seeing the same games available that I saw on the television side, which leads me to think these are all web-based games, but some of them look really cool. So you saw what Rocket looked like. This one is called Infernax, and I'll load it up here real quick, and it loads up just as quickly as it does on the TV platform because these are all web-based apps here. Unfortunately, on the computer, game controllers don't seem to work at the moment. I did pair up this controller and tried an Xbox controller, and the games just didn't respond to that. But the graphics here look pretty cool. This one kind of reminds me of Shovel Knight in its art form. I'm not sure if it's by the same studio or not. And it's kind of a side-scrolling platformer here. I can just go ahead and create a quick game and jump in. It's a little hard to play, though, with the keyboard as opposed to playing with a proper controller. But the graphics look pretty cool. And again, it's all just running inside of the browser as part of my Netflix account. So it's fun to see them experimenting with all of these different means of getting games to their customers. And here you get a feel for what the game looks and plays like here inside of the browser. And this is a game that's also available on the TV platform. So pretty cool stuff here. And if you haven't yet experimented with the Netflix games, you might want to take a look. So that'll do it for this look at Netflix games. I had not played with these up until today, even though I've had it on my account for years now. And I'm sure there's other things lurking on my subscription accounts that I am not taking advantage of. So let me know down in the comments below what some of the hidden features are of your favorite subscription services, and maybe we'll do a deep dive into one of those next. That'll do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.